I'm sometimes asked by executives of our customers or prospects, and I'm always endeared to hear these questions like, how do we get the most out of Liftlab? What do we need to do? And a few things that I've kind of come across, if I look across best practices, is a willingness, or I like to call it a tinkerer mindset. It's a willingness to not have your head in the sand, to not, want to kind of lean on the playbook that you've used. You're willing to disrupt that. And it really comes, if I expand on tinkerer, it's really an appetite to use evidence-based learning, right? To lay out a test and learn agenda, a series of experiments that you want to run. You don't have to think too hard in Liftlab about where those experiments come from. You already have an entire media plan with a whole bunch of evergreen spend, and that's the exact fertile ground to start testing. So that tinkerer mindset really pays off. The next would be equally important is budget fluidity. If you find an opportunity to spend more, but then the teams aren't enabled to move their spend around, it defeats the purpose. So it's maybe stating the obvious, but it's high on the list to know that there needs to be budget fluidity. And then related to that is having the confidence to invest in upper funnel when the evidence is presented to you. There's case studies on our website, like the one from Skims, where that brand was able to see an opportunity to spend profitably higher up the funnel. It was new metrics. It kind of contradicted what they had seen traditionally. They were able to have the confidence to trade on those insights, to capture that profitability, and they were even willing to share it with other Liftlab customers. People start working with Liftlab and start to feel ROI fairly quickly because they're getting it from multiple sources. It doesn't mean the very first experiment that you run will be a home run. You could get the result that the spend that you're deployed is actually fairly profitable at the current spend level. So you could get a confirmation of what you're doing. But more likely, you're going to see from an experiment that you're either one, leaving money on the table, that there's an opportunity to scale, or two, a portion of your spend is saturated, that there's an opportunity to dial back your spend and not give up that much revenue or profitability in the process. And when you dial that back, you're freeing it up to spend somewhere else more profitably. So that's the kind of virtuous cycle that brands are experiencing. The other set of signals are not from experiments. They're from the mix model. And the mix model is up and running within 3 weeks from when brands are data ready. And it's running every week. And they're presented with opportunities to trade on a weekly basis. That's why there's multiple ways to feel an ROI opportunity. Again, if the budget fluidity is there and you're able to capitalize on these suggestions, that's the virtuous cycle that brands are after.